Our big story this Thursday on India Global, viewers. As Dhaka continues to be in a state of complete flux, justice, it seems, has been turned on its head. Azharul Islam, a top leader of Jamaat-e-Islami, convicted of rape, torture, mass murder, genocide during the 1971 Liberation War, has been acquitted by the Supreme Court in Bangladesh. The charges were staggering: 1,256 civilians massacred. Hundreds, or in fact 13 women have been raped, is the charge against him. Villages torched, lives shattered. The International Crimes Tribunal sentenced him to death in 2014. That judgment is now reversed. The court saying effectively, let him walk. Let's be clear, Jamaat-e-Islami opposed Bangladesh's independence. They collaborated with the Pakistani military, aiding and abetting the genocide that came in after which India started and became part of the Liberation War. Islam was one of their commanders in Rangpur. Now he's no longer being called out a butcher, but being painted as a victim. This ruling comes as Dhaka descends into anarchy. Since the ouster of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in August 2024, the capital has seen daily clashes, student-led uprisings, and a judiciary that is now stripped of complete trust. He wasn't the only one. In another stunning twist, a journalist convicted for plotting to murder Hasina's son was also acquitted the very same day. The timing is no coincidence, viewers. The message unthinkable. Old enemies of liberation are back in power. With Islam's release, Bangladesh has taken a step backward by decades. Not towards healing, but unfortunately towards revisionism, towards violence, towards betrayal. The martyrs of 1971 cry for justice. Tonight, that justice is nowhere to be found. Smruti Pattanaik, research fellow at MP-IDSA, joins me to talk more on this. Smruti, what's happening with Bangladesh? Why is it that convicts are now being freed up and they're walking as free people?
Jurisdiction, appellate court of the Supreme Court had already allowed the revision petition to be filed. In spite of the fact that Supreme Court in 2019 had given a decision had given a death sentence to Azharul Islam. So when this particular thing was allowed, that he was allowed to make an appeal against the judgment, that point of time, it was very, very clear that it was a matter of time that he's going to get free. And as you already explained, that we know the situation has changed in Bangladesh. We also know that the dominant political parties, especially the Jamaat-e-Islami, which played a very significant role during the student movement, has an upper hand in this particular administration. And this verdict is significant in two aspects. First is that the Jamaat will continue to argue that all its political leaders who have already been hanged, 7 of them, actually were hanged for political reasons, and there was no proof by the government to prove that they were convicted in any kind of war crime. Second is Azharul Islam's, as you have seen, he attended a rally today with the Jamaat Amir, and where it was very clearly said that he was wrongly convicted, and therefore this second liberation, quote unquote second liberation,
convicted by international court. He's been convicted by international tribunals of hundreds of rapes, hundreds of murders. Someone who had a very deep link to play in the genocide that led to the 1971 Liberation War, didn't it? And how is it that man suddenly finds sympathizers in Yunus's regime? That's what it's looking like.
See, the International Tribunal was established by Sheikh Hasina, and if you look at the manner in which some of the time the witnesses were collected, so it was made controversial over the period of time.
Smruti, you're almost sounding like it was a political decision. Is that what you're sounding it like? That it was a political decision under Sheikh Hasina?
But my question is that 2019, when he got the death sentence, why his death sentence was not implemented by Sheikh Hasina, and why in 2025 he was allowed to file an appeal? There is, at least 5 years for Hasina to implement the verdict of the Supreme Court. Why it was not done? Why it was left? I have not been able to understand that.
So what you're saying is that there were political reasons why Azharul Islam wasn't executed despite being given the death penalty, and despite all of that, but as any citizen of a country, you are within your rights to get the all legal avenues
Yeah.
that are available to you. So the legal avenue that was available to him was the appellate tribunal. Maybe he was waiting for that. That's part of the legal process of the country. But what I'm really trying to come back to is the fact that this is a Bangladesh where radicals are being mainstreamed. This is a Bangladesh where Islamists are now part of the political class, and you have people accused of conducting genocide, walking out as a free person. This is the new Bangladesh under Muhammad Yunus.
Yes, I agree. In fact, the kind of thing which has happened post Sheikh Hasina's removal, we have seen the Islamist political parties have been mainstreamed, especially the Jamaat-e-Islami is playing a significant role. There was also demand for a new national anthem in Bangladesh. We have seen Sheikh Mujibur's statue was dismantled, his house was bulldozed. So many things are happening which is actually contrary to what the Liberation War stood for. We are also seeing the Constitutional Reform Commission is, has a suggestion to do away with secularism and incorporate pluralism. So there are many of the things which is happening in Bangladesh actually are certain things which will definitely concern those people who fought for the liberation, and many of them are, keeping quiet, thinking that there may be reprisal, they may be accused that they are supporter of Army League. So there is general dissatisfaction regarding the manner in which things are shaping up. I'll just give an example. Yesterday, there were certain social media posts. People who have been supportive of the student movement are clearly saying that they will never support NCP for its tacit understanding with the Islamists, especially after Azharul Islam's, after his freedom.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Smruti. Thanks for joining in. Hopefully next time you're not going to be in a car and you're going to be joining us here in the studios.